Yo, so here we are, back at it again, Boruto episode 210. Of course, Sanjae Uchiha here, people wagwan. Welcome back to the channel. Naturally, we're getting closer and closer to the Boruto manga, so this episode should mark the start of them, doing a bit of more anime original stuff. For the most part, I know we did kinda end on, we haven't even fully completed the events of chapter 44, which I believe was the last chapter that we actually started adapting. Granted, last episode was beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have any problem with last episode, so there's that. So let's hope this episode can, replicate that feeling, justify its existence for the most part. So it is what it is. But yo, for those of you that are new here, welcome. Returning subscribers, shout out to you. Definitely leave a like and let me know what you thought about this episode in the comment section below. Let's get a discussion started. But anyway, without further ado, let's get right into the episode. Alright, here we go. Cool, just chilling with the 10 tails. Okay, I think this is new. I don't think I recall Delta telling Jigen and Ko that he was dead in the manga. Yo, couldn't have no chill na dog. Man just yo. Style Boro at any chance possible. Konohamaru? What on there? Yeah, but I'm sorry, but it's just always funny seeing this man actually. It's because I'm just not used to seeing him at these points in time in the manga, so it's like surprising. Alright, so I like this for the most part. In terms of following up on the anime expansion that they did on Boro, but at the same time, I think it's kind of like as I was saying the last live stream I did. For Konohamaru to really get that genuine push, I feel. And I'm not saying doing these anime additional, scenes to, fix the piercing and expound on other characters isn't helping, but he needs to get a moment in the manga itself. You see me? The main source, the main set of events. So that's what I feel, because I think when it comes on to these anime additional things, when they add on to stuff that's already good in the manga, then it really cements a certain character event in your mind. But when it comes on to a situation like Konohamaru, when it's just in terms of him getting his moments, it's just in the additional stuff alone and not the manga as well, it kind of feels like, oh shit, Konohamaru is doing something, yes, you kind of rate him, no, and then okay, it's back to business as usual. When you're reading the manga, you're back to the main stuff that the anime is adapting from the manga, if you get what I mean. So yeah, it needs something in the manga. Thinking about it, no, 3 years ago. Because no, Kawaki would have had the karma for more than 3 years, right? More than likely. But I'm thinking her brother more than likely might be one of the the 14 kids that were brought to the Kara's base to implant the karma on. And probably one of the obviously he would have died, so that would have probably explained it. But I feel like 3 years kind of seems, is it 3 years is the only thing that's throwing me off, because I would feel that I think that Kawaki did get the karma more than 3 years ago. So yeah, and then of course from Kawaki got the karma, it's like there would be no need to implant anybody else. So, but anyway, that's just my theory for now.
みんないつの間にか連絡が取れなくなって。戻ってきた人はいないのですか？いると聞きましたが、人捨てで聞いただけなので。
Of course, it's a secret passageway. Come on, guys. Oh. So I guess it wasn't the virus in that vial, and it's not gonna affect them? Alright, cool. Fresh enough, fresh enough. Oh yeah, it would make sense. Okay, so I guess these kids, or these guys, are pretty much the persons who were selected for the karma implantation, so I guess my theory is probably 90% correct at this point. Don't tell me. Is Delta here to literally just kill everybody? Oh, well. Shit. Like, this is why I just really for dead with as well, but and there we go. Well, Delta clearly got an upgrade if she's spamming the light beam. Alright, so that was Boruto episode 210, and like I was saying during the reaction, I really appreciate that the anime is taking its time to not only, you know, tie up the loose ends with the original content that they introduced with Boro's character, but at the same time, it does serve as I would always say, the middle ground, the content we'd want to see, and stalling for time for the manga. It serves as a middle ground for that, you know, at least that, until we start getting the novels adapted. So there's that. So I appreciate that, and of course it gives a nice opportunity for characters that don't usually get much spotlight or haven't really done much in the manga per se to actually get that push, namely in this case Konohamaru and Sai, which as again is always appreciated. And what's really good about this episode when it comes on to getting appreciation for the state of the Naruto universe is that if you really read between the lines, which honestly it's not really hard to, you can get an idea of, you know, how things are for a lot of people outside of the five great nations. I mean, if you're a person who doesn't read the novels and who hasn't looked at a lot of the extended content when it comes on to that, then this episode kind of gets you to get an appreciation for the, or at least the situation with the cult in general. It gives you an idea of what these persons are going through in terms of having a place to belong, something to believe in, and the fact that probably the five great nations and their influence and their attempts for quote-unquote peace isn't, of course, 100% foolproof, and it never will be, but at the same time, it, at least in retrospect, gives you the idea that, okay, yeah, even though Naruto and company, you know, strove to, you know, end the Fourth Great Ninja War, went against the Infinite Tsukuyomi, and, you know, defeated all who they needed to defeat, it isn't kumbaya at the end of the day. There's some nuance in a more realistic sense. Of course, there will still be people who they wouldn't have been able to reach, can't manage to actually give support to, or, you know, stuff like that. It's nuance, and it kind of shows you the cruel reality of the world that a lot of persons in the universe still have to actually deal with, which is, you know, to be expected. So you know, it kind of gives you a peek into that when it comes on to tying up the loose ends with this whole, you know, Boro cult situation. So I appreciated that, and it's always it's stuff like that when it comes on to the Boruto series that I love seeing. So there's that. But as I was saying during the reaction as well, the whole flip side of that is that although I appreciate Konohamaru getting more screen time when it comes on to, you know, making use of him in a situation like this, he definitely needs to have something in the manga per se. It's like, again, to bring up what I was saying, having him get this additional screen time is good, but you need that core screen time, that core panel time in the manga to really cement him as a character that somebody, well, us as the audience can get behind when it comes on to, you know, watching Boruto. Because if not, it's going to be a situation like, oh shit, oh, Konohamaru got that one time to shine, and then we're back to business as usual. It's not going to, it's not enough to really change the impression or the, you know, how people feel about Konohamaru in the Boruto era. So until he gets that real time to shine in the manga itself, then I don't think much is going to change in terms of the impressions when it comes on to Konohamaru. But that's just how I see it, at least. So let me know what you think. Of course, expanding on the whole situation with a new scene in the beginning with Delta, basically telling Jigen and Ko that Boro is dead. I don't think we got that in the manga, so at least that ties up that loose end. Because if memory serves right, I don't think Jigen or Delta ever found out in the manga, but they didn't really make a big complaint that he was missing. So I guess that at least helps to patch out and bridge the gap between any, you know, loose ends that the manga had. So that's also appreciated. It kind of makes the story flow a bit better, to say the least. So again, it kind of comes back down to the whole idea that the Boruto anime is becoming, or is the definitive way to experience Boruto, fortunately and unfortunately, if you know what I mean. So it comes down to that. But all in all, I thought it was it was an okay episode. Definitely preferred last week's episode, if I'm being quite honest. But this episode was okay. Nothing too crazy, nothing too, it wasn't bad or like extremely good. Had its positives. But of course, as I said, when it comes on to the character of Konohamaru, I still have my concerns. So it just comes down to that, really. But I'm looking forward to seeing where the next episode takes us. So yeah. Anyway, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Leave a like, of course, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Boruto video.